Live. Live video starting. Live. 3, 2, 1. Where's the little red thing? My topic today is timing is everything. Good morning. Good morning. How are we? How are we? I just have to, this drill over here. I have some really interesting things to talk to you about today. I'm excited. I mean, I'm always excited, but all right, so I do that. And do that. See? There she is. All right. So here we go. I've been going through the photographs from the FanaticCon event that was held in Ottawa on the 14th. So, oh my gosh, it's over a week ago. Timing, late, me, Garen? Hello, hello. Here's the thing. And then I saw this amazing post from one of my lovely, lovely I'm walking here pals on Facebook. And I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to put this down. Because I can only hold my hand in the air for so long, unless I'm on a subway, in which case then I have and what the statement was that kind of led his post was, your day will come. And, here's the thing about that. Sure it will. What is more true and what is more important, especially in the context of really focusing our lives and thinking about why we're doing what we're doing, is this very odd truth. And the odd truth is that this day is actually here. It's actually now. We'll get another one tomorrow. We had one yesterday. We'll get one after that. And so on and so on. It's our day now. And when people say your day will come, they're saying to you, don't give up hope. They're saying, keep fighting the good fight. They're encouraging you. The thing is that they're not cheerleaders, professional. They're well-meaning amateur cheerleaders. And the message they're sending you is incorrect. The correct message is, your day is here. Everything we are leaning into is here. It's always right here. There could be a specific moment that we're waiting for, in 3 weeks this, or in 7 weeks that, or in 10 minutes the other. The thing is, some aspect of that is here now. And how we buy into that, how we recognize that, how we choose to be ready for that affects if we're not paying attention, if we're not making the decision consciously and deliberately, if we're not acting with purpose. I had another conversation the other night with my stage manager from the show, with Greg. And I said, what do we want to take away from this? And he said, we want to take away from this that we still need to do the hands in the circle, everybody ready, 3, 2, 1, go, because people aren't entirely ready for you. And I said, well, that's the story of my life. And he said, yeah, but for a show, it's easy for you because you're so focused in on it, and you're so dialed into what is about to happen. we have to make sure that you take the time to say to everybody, okay, are we all good? Any questions? Any issues? No? Okay, it's showtime. And then that can remind everybody else who hasn't practiced this for as many days and weeks and months and nights and as you have. And I thought about that, and he was right, of course. There comes a time when, in the gearing up, in the last final minutes right before the show, when I'm already in mode, I'm already there, and it's difficult, and it's good that he, gives me this little tap on the shoulder. He got caught up in it too, because he was saying, I forgot. It's my job to remind you. It's my job to say Abby wants to say something, and allow me to go, what? Oh yeah, that's right. Because the analogy of the Viking ship is really good. We all have to be rowing together. There always has to be somebody doing the count, yelling, pull, or stroke, or whatever it is, whatever the call is, there has to be someone setting the pace. If it's a drum beat, there has to be someone who keeps everyone in step. And when that begins, that is the cue for everyone to say, all right, this isn't a rehearsal. Okay, let's do this, right? And if we don't have someone, if we don't have a built-in stage manager, we have to give ourselves some reminder tool that allows us to say, okay, it's showtime. It's showtime. And the reason I say that is not because I'm expecting everybody to want to get into show business. You're God in heaven. What I'm saying is that your day is here. And not paying attention to that, not knowing that something is always ready right now for you to see it and seize it. Always. There is never not a time when a message, a signal, an aha, when one of those is not happening. It's always happening. It's our job to see it. Not look around like wild things, panicked in headlights, but to be aware. And the way to be aware is to be present in the moment. So here's what I do. It won't be the same for you, but it's a thing. I'm allowing myself to slow down a little bit. If I'm watching a video, if I'm reading posts, if I give myself, okay, I'm going to, have a cup of coffee and I'm going to read in my newsfeed. I'm not mindlessly scrolling. If I've made the decision impulsively, you know what, I'm going to look at my newsfeed. That's not an impulse. That's a nudge on the shoulder. That's a tap from out there somewhere saying, do this. And do this. There's something waiting for you. That's what that is. The impulse, the sudden, you know what, maybe I'll. That's a nudge. That's the gods, that's the universe, in between your shoulder blades going boof. And so when you sit there and you do that and you give it half an hour, you can enjoy it. You can just laugh and enjoy it. But you know what I do? I'll show you what I do. So I have a computer, obviously, I'm on the computer. But I also have a notepad. I have a notepad. It's the perfect size to sit beside my desk. And I make notes in it all the time. I keep it there along with one of my pens, and I make notes all the time. Something happens, something occurs to me. I think, look at that. And I write it down. And hopefully, if I can pause what's happening long enough to write it legibly so I don't look at it later and think, what is that supposed to mean? And I write it down, and at the end of the day, and sometimes the next morning, I go back and look at the stuff I wrote, because I may not always, retain it here. But writing it down gives me the confidence that I won't forget it, because I can go get it. I can forget it because I can get it, right? And those little messages, those little ahas, those little, oh, look at that. Wow. We don't necessarily have to know where they fit in the puzzle we're trying to put together. We don't need to see them as the grand solution of every mystery we've ever encountered. We just need to recognize that it's there for us. It's there for us for a reason. Messages come all the time. Don't know where they come from. Don't know why. They come from out there somewhere. One of the interesting things we hear a lot of these days is that we're all molecules and we're all vibrating, and when we vibrate in sequence, in the right sequence, we get in sync with other things and other people and other events. And like sometimes you'll this happens to me a lot. I'll have a really sweet, wonderful friend, and we'll get on the phone or we'll have lunch, and we're out of sync with each other. And it feels really odd and off, but we're out of step. And usually I say, it was something off. And yeah, I know. And so quite often it doesn't fix itself. It doesn't correct itself in that moment on that day. And the best thing to do is to say, okay, so something's not working. We're clearly, we got to do this again. And then the next time we're fine. Back on the phone, and we're fine to see each other again, and we're fine. But it was just that day when we were honed in on another frequency, doing something else somewhere in there, and we weren't on each other's frequency. That happens, and it happens so much that I know it's a thing. It's real. And so when I read these things about we're all in harmony, and if the universe is vibrating, if a message is coming and we are the radio, then it's up to us to be ready to catch the signal. Telling ourselves, one day I'll get the message. Meanwhile, the message is standing there saying, yo, ooh, here, message here. And we're saying, oh, it'll be coming soon. I know it. It's right here. That is happening all the time. All of us, to all of us, with all of us, from all of us, all the time. So the image that I posted today that goes with when I officially post this, and I do it on the other Facebook, and I do it on YouTube, and I do it on LinkedIn or whatever. I chose the photo from Fanaticon where Melissa Pacey came vamping on into the booth for me to autograph the books that she bought from me the previous year. And she's dancing to the Ghostbusters music, and she's coming in with the books, and she's doing her thing. And I had taken a brief break, and my stage manager, Greg, had taken a brief, and we were sitting, but when she came in, it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and the two of us laughed. In the picture, you can see my head is back. I'm laughing at her. And she's loving the fact that she's on center stage. She's loving it. You can see it. And he's loving it. He's getting up. He knows he's got to get out of here because she's got something to say, and I need to be able to hear her. And he's laughing, and he's leaving. And I'm laughing because we were ready. We were ready to see her. We weren't, oh yeah, in a second, hun. No, it was her entrance, and we were there for that. We were there for that moment. And then she sat down, and we talked about the stuff that she had come to really talk about, in addition to, by the way, sign the books. So Melissa and I have been talking for a few months now about her brand. And as I have explained to her the fundamentals of personal branding, as I have explained to her that the message has to resonate with people. As I have explained to her, that when you have one clear thing that you represent, it's easier for people to hear it and see it and connect with you and identify with it. If you're all over the map and you have a million things you're doing, people don't know what you're about. They don't know what it's for. And if they're not focused, if they're tired, if they're distracted, your moment is lost. So in discussing that with Melissa and saying to her, you know, the things that I observe about you, these are the strengths that I see. The other stuff you're doing, it's interesting, but it's not helpful. It's not supporting you. So what happens if we have a conversation about narrowing it down and making it a very clear, single message with lots of interesting layers in it, but a single, clear message that people can buy into? And she said, oh yeah. So we've been talking. So when she arrived, she was also wearing something that she had found that represents this new direction she's taking. And she was telling me, so I got my banner, you're going to come by the seat of the booth. And the banner is the same design as the dress she was wearing. So she has grabbed it and run like the wind with it. She sees it and she loves it. She's telling friends, she's telling family, and they're saying, oh, what a great idea, because that is so you. And so this is what she was saying to me in the booth. And I said, there you go. When somebody says this is so you, that's your brand. I know that it's working for me. When I will get, out of nowhere, I will get a post, an email, a message, a phone call from someone who says, we're on vacation in Vegas and I'm walking by whatever store and there's this giant shoe in the window, and we both immediately said, Abby! So here's the picture. To people on a vacation, I'm not in the forefront of their thoughts. All it takes is a shoe, and shazam, their Vegas vacation is about me. That's successful branding. She was ready in the moment, and I had trained them well with my branding, with my messaging, that when she saw the visual, it created an instant ping, and they couldn't think of anything else. So the reason I say that our day is here, our moment is now, is that we are all guilty of doing something unhelpful to us, to everyone, unhelpful to everyone else in our ripple reach, most importantly, unhelpful to us. And here's what we're doing. We're multitasking. We're telling ourselves, when my ship comes in, I'll be ready. We're not looking up from the news feed on our phone to realize that our ship is here. It's at the dock. The entry plank is down. Everybody's waiting, waving. We're looking at nothing because we don't think it's our turn yet. And the fact is, it's always our turn if we make it our turn. Now, I don't mean, when I say that we get to cut in front of other people. If somebody's getting ready to exit, to merge, to at the cash, to buy, that's their moment. Ours is right next to it. We get to be ready to be segueing in. We get to be front and center, paying attention. When you hear these stories of somebody who's embarrassed they don't have enough money to pay for the groceries, if we're on our phone and we're not listening, we're not there. We're not able to say, here, let me help you with that. If somebody's rude or insulting or bullying, and we're not present because we're doing this, we don't have that opportunity to say, hey, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? And and make the world a better place for all of us in that second. We need to be present. Because until we're present, we have absolutely no reason to care. We have no reason to engage. We have no reason also to feel special. We have no reason at all to feel excited, because we don't think it's our turn yet. And we're on holding. We're on neutral. We're not even in gear. I've told this story almost as many times as my dad used to say it to me. When we played tennis, my dad always said, get up, get up, get up, get up. And he didn't mean out of bed. He meant get up on the balls of my feet. Never, never stand with your weight on your heels. It's a metaphor as well. But if you stand with your weight on your heels and the ball comes at you from an unexpected direction, or something else comes at you from an unexpected direction, you're late. You're already late. You've already missed your opportunity because of the time it takes you to recognize that it's now, and then for your brain to tell your feet to move forward, to move your balance forward, to be ready to respond. It's too late. You have to already be ready to respond the minute you see the possibility. Otherwise, you miss the boat, and you can't ever get that back. You can catch the next one, but you wanted to be on this one. And it's so important. And as I, throughout the next few days and weeks and whatnot, post the pictures from Fanaticon 3, I'm really hoping that you notice something very interesting, because I came into it, I went into it, I was into it with absolute intention to give people the invitation to be in the moment with me. I wasn't allowing anyone to be a spectator. I wasn't allowing anyone to feel like it's not about them. This year, coming out of COVID, this year coming out of standing on one foot waiting for life to begin again, I wanted every single person who came within arm's reach of me to realize that this was their moment. And I was 1,000,000,000% there for them. The whole booth was set up for them. They were the stars of the booth. I had them autographing the banners. Somebody said, well, then what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to get the autographs off? I'm not. The autographs are going to stay on the banners because I want people to feel such a connection that they want to say, I was here. I'm part of this. And so I had two opportunities. I managed to find a banner that was all Care Bears all the time. And then I have my other banner that is the You Can't Do That on Television lockers. And I insisted that when people came, as I say, within arm's reach, I left the booth a couple of times and said to people, come here, I want you to do something for me. What? Come on. One guy, I said, I need you in the booth to wear a feather boa with me. What? Come on. And I said to his girlfriend, he'll only be a minute. The next thing this poor man knew, I draped him in a lime green boa, and we were having our pictures taken. He was signing stuff, and he said, this is incredible. But then he posted it. He posted the picture after I'd shared it, and he said, you know, there's something about wearing a slime green boa that makes a guy feel elegant. I think I look amazing. And there he is, standing there, proud as everything. Trucker's cap, t-shirt, lime boa, looking like $11 million. I did that deliberately with every single person who came. and their kids and their friends. Come on, we can all get in the picture. How much is it? No, these are free. Really? Yeah. Wow. And then you know what they did when they left the booth? They went and told their friends. And while they were in the booth, and other people came along and said, what's going on? At least one of my team would say, oh, everybody's getting to autograph stuff. Really? Yeah. You need to, does Abby know you're here? And we created a tribe. We created a community of people who are owning the moment, celebrities. I had the paparazzi. I had 2, 3, 4 photographers from time to time. 4 photographers coming from other booths to take pictures, because this is pretty cool. They were taking pictures of other things. They came over and took pictures of my stuff. They took photographers taking pictures of each other. You know you're onto something when the paparazzi is photographing itself, right? You know you're onto something. And I did that because the best coaching training tool is absolute proof you show someone that they already know how to do the thing they're not sure of. If I say to somebody, oh, you listen, you know how to seize your moment. I'll prove it to you. Ta-da! And they say, oh, yeah, that's really fun. Yes, it was. Yes, it was really fun. Want to do it again? And making that conscious decision is the habit we all need to get into on purpose. It doesn't just happen by itself. When I get there, I'll be in the mood. No. You got to bring the mood with you. You got to be the mood when you walk in that door. I have this coaching technique that I use with actors and business clients as well. I say to them, you need to get a manila folder. Oh, I use this. I don't care what you use. You need to get a manila folder. And you need to write on the outside of the folder the word later. Well, good morning, Phil. Oh gosh, good morning from Texas. Phil, how's Texas? We're all up here in Canada watching the news about the weather in Texas. I hope you're in a safe place. The idea of getting a later folder, speaking of issues, is that when we make a commitment to go somewhere, to do something, to be part of something, when we say we will not only show up, we'll stand up and we'll lean in. We sometimes need a tool to help us do that, to help us let go of the inner loop tape, the litany of things that we're repeating over and over so we don't forget it. So what I say to them is, you get a manila folder, you write the word later on the front of it, and you always keep a couple of loose sheets of paper in that folder. And you keep that folder with you. Keep it in the car. And wherever it is that you're going, or if you don't have a car, whatever it is you normally take with you, if you have a backpack or something, keep it with you. And when you reach your destination, before you get out of the car, you need to give yourself permission to take 30 seconds. And you open the folder and you take out the pen. And the reason I recommend that you do this with a pen and paper as opposed to just doing digitally is because the act of writing cements information in an important place in your brain. Differently than tap, 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 save. It's different because it's a hands-on exercise that your brain and your body and your eyes are watching as it unfolds. And you write down the things that are your issues. You write down that I'm worried about my grades. You write down that I'm worried that this diet will never work. You write down that I'm worried about this audition. You write that. And then it's on the page. You close the folder, you put the folder on the seat beside you, and you say to yourself, I will deal with that later. I will not forget. And you leave that in the car. You clear your brain, take a breath. Okay, showtime. And you get out of the car with the intention that you are on in this moment. You're not on when you get there. You're on now. I don't mean fake. I mean you're facing the front, you're in the moment, and you're 100% now. And you walk in with that. You have to practice it. You have to practice it to get good at it, because it's not normal. It's not natural. It's not something we're born with. This is learned behavior. And it's really important, because people don't teach us this when we're children. They teach us how to get toothpaste on the toothpaste brush. They teach us how to get food onto the fork and off the plate and into our mouths with less and less of it in our lap. They don't teach readiness. They don't teach purpose. They don't teach intention. And they don't teach focus. I'm teaching you. And when we do that, we walk in to our opportunity 100% present, accounted for, facing the front, positively ready, knowing that this is our day. It's our day, not their day. It's our day. And I guarantee you, creating that habit for yourself and promising yourself and promising me that you're going to create the habit, you're going to do it every day, all the time, is going to change everything for you. Everything. And the reason I know that is because it has changed everything for every single person I've taught it to, and it has changed everything for me. So, on a more serious level, in the last years of You Can't Do That on Television, I had a couple of really difficult things I was dealing with. One was a public embarrassment that it was a frivolous lawsuit designed to get somebody else headlines and make me look embarrassed or whatever. People do that to you when you're famous. And take you down a peg is a form of bullying, and it's horrible, and it was embarrassing for me, and I had to cope with the media, and I had to talk to them and say, no, it's nothing. At the same time that was happening, my mother died. And it wasn't expected. And I had to find a way to give my best energy to deal with those things at the right time and place. And I had to have some technique that allowed me, without feeling shame or blame or guilt or regret or any of those opt-out fear-based emotions, I had to have a technique that allowed me to do that, put them aside, hold them for later, remind myself by writing it down that I would not forget, I was not dishonoring them. It's that my focus had to shift because I had a job to do. Now, the thing is, I wasn't Mother Teresa. I wasn't saving lives. My job was to go into that television studio and be the best addle-headed, silly, goofy mom I could be, or the most irritated librarian you'd ever met. Why? Because I'd made a commitment to that show. I'd signed a contract. I made a commitment to all the other actors and the crew and the producer that they could count on me to show up and stand up and be my very best self for them every time. Every time. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I knew from the ratings and the letters coming in that there were a lot of kids who were counting on us. And I was part of that us. Would they feel bad for me if they knew something was wrong? Yes, of course they would. But that's not their problem. They didn't tune in to their favorite TV show in order to feel bad. They tuned in order to feel good. They tuned in order to forget their problems for a minute. They tuned in order to feel part of something magical that made them feel that everything was okay. When that show was on and they got to watch it, that was their moment. That was their day. Their time had come. I wasn't allowed to steal that from them. That's not how it works. When you're getting ready to do a show, and you know there are people outside who've paid to come in, who got off the couch, put on pants. So important, really. People so seldom think about that, but they got off the couch, put on pants, got in the car, or got on the train, or got on the bus, and came all the way, found parking, and they're waiting because they have decided that this is the most important part of their day. You know what they don't deserve? They don't deserve coming all excited and finding me distracted, disinterested, complaining. Oh, I've got a hangnail. God, don't you hate a paper cut? They didn't come to the booth to hear that. They didn't come to see me on stage to hear me showing up late saying or yelling backstage, "Where the hell is my stuff?" They didn't come for that. They came for their moment. The only way they get their moment is if I own my moment. The only way we get the magic is that if we buy into the idea that we are the magic, we make the magic. The only way we can do that is by understanding there are techniques that we're not meant to juggle all the flaming chainsaws at the same time and pat the kitten and make a sandwich. We're allowed to put the flaming chainsaws in the later folder and give them our full attention in a minute. But meanwhile, we have to pat the cat and make the sandwich. Okay, we can only do awesome if we bring awesome. That's the way it works. We don't just show up and say, okay, I'm here, aren't I? I showed up, didn't I? Well, no, you didn't. No, now you're just taking up space. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late, but I just, I had this and I had that, and we don't care. We don't care. Stop being late. Start being here. You can talk about late later, when we all have whatever it is we deserve to order. When we can take our shoes off and say, oh my God. Tell us about it then, not now. Now we're busy. Now we are present. If you're not, what are you doing here? Every single day is our day. Every single moment is our moment. You know what I do every day for the video? Every day for the video at 8:30, I stop what I'm doing. I've already planned what I'm going to do for the video because I'm like that. I stop all the other stuff I'm doing. It doesn't matter that it's only 8:30. I stop. Why? Because I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. And I'm not slick enough to be able to juggle the 48 other things that are going on and give you the attention you deserve. Give the topic I'm covering the messaging it deserves. I can only do one thing well at a time. I know that. There was a time when I thought I could do that, the other thing. And it proved to be wrong. It proved to be wrong. There's a great blooper sketch on You Can't Do It on Television when I'm dressed as the Statue of Liberty. And the reason I flub walking through the door is more than an inability to walk through doors. It's because backstage right before, somebody said, here, let me grab a picture of you in the costume. And I broke my cardinal rule. And I said, oh, yes, of course, darling. And I did my thing. And I'm hearing the floor director saying, go! So I turned around and I swan through the door, opened the door, swan through. But I had been posing with the lamp high, and it was too high. If I'd been ready at the door, I would have been checking to see is my arm too high. No, I didn't do that. I thought I could be all things to all people, walked through the door, broke the only version of the lamp we had. Congratulations, Abby. Congratulations. Now, was it funny? Yes, it was funny. Did they keep it as a blooper? Yes. Why was it funny as a blooper? Because I'm an idiot and I couldn't stop laughing at my stupidity. And the kids started laughing and the crew started laughing and you could see the shadow of the boom truck bouncing because everybody said, oh my God, did it cost the company money? Yes. However, they salvaged it because they kept the sketch as a blooper. But it didn't end the way it was supposed to end. It didn't end with the theme. Identities. You know, it needed to be slotted into clumsies. Mistaken identities. Distracted identities. The thing that we are doing is we are shortchanging ourselves. And I'm going to tell you how I know. People are going shopping again. People are going out again. People are going to events again. People are traveling again. And they are going, many of them, with an expectation that someone owes them something for what they've been through. They're going with a posture of entitled to be special, entitled to be able to bend the rules because I earned it. Okay. There is an argument to be had for that. It certainly is an argument to be had to say, you know what, I know we're going to go and I know the dinner's a little more expensive, but I deserve it. We've earned it. Let's go do this. Okay, but that's not the attitude you walk in with. Do you know why that's not the attitude you walk in with? Because every single person in there has gone through what you've gone through. And they are entitled to a great time. Every single person going into a store, getting on a bus, grabbing an Uber or a taxi, buying something pretty to wear, handsome to wear, sexy to wear, investing in that really kind of expensive tool or technology that they really can't afford, but oh well. Everyone deserves a pat on the back for making it. A pat on the back for showing up. Okay, everybody, not just you, not just me. How do we make sure that everybody feels freaking awesome? We write all the poor me crap in the later folder and leave it in the car. All of it. And we leave it in the car. I should. It's not fair. Write it down. Invest in it again later. Not while you're in there. Going into that restaurant, into that store, into that taxi, onto that bus, onto that airplane, into that resort does not entitle you to ruin everybody else's day. They have earned the right to love this moment as much as you. We're all there. Every single one of us. How does it then work? We write all the negative poor me stuff, leave it in the later folder, go in with the attitude that my day is here. It's here. Everything I've waited for is here right now. Everything I've wanted is here right now. Are you excited? Are you glad? Are you happy? Show us. Because we all feel the same way. If your day is here, if you've made it, it's magic. Your magic. Bring the magic. Walk in and say, "Hi, I'm checking in. I am so excited. You have no idea." And the person behind the desk says, "You think you're excited? You have no idea how excited we are that we're open again." I stayed at a hotel recently. Two things happened that were interesting. Well, many things happened that were interesting, but the two things that were very interesting. The first one was when I walked in, full of the woman at the desk, who is the receiving person, didn't look up, had a on her face, and was busy doing something. And I said, "Hi," and she didn't look up, and she didn't change this, she put up her hand like this. And I thought, I'm going to fix this. So I waited for my opportunity. When she finally looked up, she said, "Yes?" And I said, "Well, what an awesome day." And she said, "What?" I said, "What an awesome day." And she said, yeah, I suppose so. Can I help you?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'm checking in." And she said, "Okay, can I have your name?" And I said, "Certainly." And I gave her my name. And she said, as she looked it up, she said, "We're having a lot of trouble today." And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you have no idea, honey. But I'm just still smiling. And she said, "Oh, yes, here it is. And you put the deposit down with your credit card, and the last two numbers on the credit card are 39. And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Can you guess my weight as well?" And she looked up and she said, "What?" And I said, "How did you do that? Like, is it magic? Are you one of those people who can, see what my underwear looks like?" And she blinked, and I'm grinning at her. And she said, no, sorry, it's just, oh God, it's been a day. And I thought, I'm winning. And I said, no kidding. It must be crazy getting everything back up and running. So, you know why I'm here? And she said, to check in. And I said, "Oh, yeah, of course, after that. The first thing I want to do after I check in is find the bar, and then I want to find the room where we're doing our show." And she said, "Oh, you're part of the show." And I thought, you're in the boat. And she said, but this is for cosplayers. Are you part of that? And I said, "Are you old enough to remember the Care Bears?" And she blinked. Her whole body blinked. And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Really?" And I said, "What year did you first watch them?" And she said, "Oh my God, what year did I first watch them?" I said, 1982. And she said, "Yeah." From tense and frustrated and disorganized and distracted, that vanished. And she said, "Really? Which ones?" I win. How was her day? Her day was great. Did she have any idea that her day was going to be right now? No. Did she know it the minute it happened? Oh yeah. And every time I saw her at this event, back and forth, she's waving, hi, I hope I can come by your booth. Transformed. In an instant. The other thing that happened was I went for breakfast, and I said, yes, I'm here with the show, so it's the breakfast is included. And the woman in the place where they had food said, well, no, it's not included. And I said, yes, it is. And she said, no, it's available. And I said, what? And she said, well, it's available. I said, of course it's available. It's a restaurant. And it's included because I'm part of the show. And she said, no, we don't do that here. And I said, is that right? Okay, then. You know what happened when I got home? I got an email from the hotel asking me to rate my experience. I opted not to. I felt it was the kindest thing I could do. Very different at this event. At this event, everybody was really helpful. This most recent event, the hotel was really, really helpful. The other one, I had to actually get them into helpful mode. I had to get them into it's showtime mode. Why? Well, because they were just coming back from not being there, and they hadn't had the advantage of a later folder. They didn't know that a later folder was going to be their best friend. And I tell it to everybody as often as I can. Trust me, you will thank me, it will change everything. The other story I want to tell you, which feels like a little bit of a mind reading thing, which is always cool. I was headhunted to meet with a very busy CEO. And when I arrived, he wasn't there. And when our time for our meeting came, he still wasn't there. And when he did walk in 10 minutes later, he looked a combination of frustrated, frazzled, pissed off, and unimpressed. His name, and I reached out to shake his hand, and he looked at my hand like he'd never seen one before. He said, oh yeah, hi. And I said, I'm this. And I said, I know what you were thinking all the way here. And as he was sitting down and getting himself organized, he sort of looked up at me. He said, what are you, a mind reader? And I said, pretty much. And he said, okay, you're not going to be doing one of those goofy, weird mind reading things. And I said, no, I'm just going to tell you that I know what you were thinking all the way here. And he said, what was that? I said, you were thinking this better be worth it. And he blinked, and then he grinned, and he said, okay, how did you do that? And I said, well, it's you were kind of wearing it when you walked in. You were still wearing that question you were asking yourself, and that thing you were saying to yourself as you were driving, and probably caught in traffic, and everything that could possibly go wrong. And I said, so I'm going to tell you why I know that that was happening for you. I said, because it happens for everybody all the time. And it is called the Witham song. He said, the what? I said, W-I-I-F-M. W-I-I-F-M. Witham. And the Witham song is, what's in it for me? And all the way here, you couldn't figure out what could possibly be in it for you except a waste of your valuable time. Because the person who put this meeting together had not given you the hook you needed to be excited or curious. You did it because you felt you had to. You did it because it was an obligation, a debt owed, and you were preparing all the way to get even later. with that person. And he said, "You're good at this." And I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm good at it because I'm in show business. And I have to face that every time I do a show. If there's 500 people in the audience, there's 500 people sitting there saying what's in it for me." Now, some of them aren't, if they've seen the show before, or they've seen me before, or they're just excited to be allowed out of the house and put on, their town pants, their dress-up clothes. But most of them are sitting there with their arms folded, especially the early show on a Friday. It's better be good. It's better be worth it. What's in it for me? And I said, I'm also going to tell you something really important. All your clients, everybody who uses your business, your service, your product, whatever, they're all asking themselves the same thing. They're saying to themselves, what's in this for me, while they're pulling out their credit card, or they're renewing their subscription, or they're agreeing to come to a trial run of something. They're all asking themselves that question. And the reason they're asking themselves that question is because they have better things to do, Nobody will ever tell you, the reason I came is I had nothing better to do. No, nobody ever says that. Even if they had nothing better to do, they come up with, well, I was very busy, but I decided I would blah, blah, blah. So here's the thing about what's in it for me. That later folder, you need a companion folder. And the companion folder is the WIFM folder. WIIFM. What's in it for me? And underneath what's in it for me, and underneath the word later, there's something else you need to write. And here it is. You need to write the words, what if? 3 dots, question mark. And leave the question open-ended. What's in it for me? Blah, 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 blah. They owe me, I got this. No. Fine. What if? What if what? What if this was your day? What if this is your moment? What if this is worth all of that? For the later folder, all the things that are bothering you, worrying you, distracting you, absolutely write them down. I'll be back. Underneath, what if? What if the thing you're setting them aside for, what if this other thing is a gift? What if this other thing is your moment? What if it's the one thing you've been waiting for that will change everything? What if? You don't have to answer that. You just have to do this thing that's so important. You read those words, you say them out loud. What if? And imagine infinite possibility. Give yourself that 30 seconds. And go in and show up and stand up. That's the gift. That's today's gift to you. This gives you the power to own, to shift, to transmogrify everything around you and make it yours. Make it yours. This tool, the later folder and the WIFM folder and the what if, these are your pivotry tools. This is how we pivot. This is how we turn it from a sharp about face into a technique, that allows us to reap the full benefits that are hidden right in front of us. This is not magic. This is not energy. This is not spirit. This is not anything more complicated or strategic than teaching ourselves to use the skills we have, the brains we have, to work for us on our terms. 90% of what we do is unconscious behavior. It's routine. It's automatic pilot. That's our subconscious brain. The other 10% is strategic, is acting and reacting. Until we place intention in front of it, until we place purpose in front of it, until we place goal and journey in front of it, we are not in charge. We are reacting to. We are spectating in our own lives. And if I know anything, I know this, and so do you. Life is not a spectator sport. Life today, this moment, is not here for us to spend waiting for a moment, somewhere waiting for us coming around the corner. This moment matters now. This moment. This one is the important one right now. And you know who loses out if we are not present for this moment? Everyone. Everyone loses out. If we choose to show up in a bad mood, we chose that. If we choose to not care how the other people are feeling and what they're looking forward to, we own that. We are putting ourselves and our selfish whatever ahead of everybody else. We are the worst kind of entitled there is. We are forgetting that everyone, all of us, exactly the same, pay dues, carry burdens, believe, fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, that we're supposed to do this, we're supposed to be here, we're supposed to matter, that we're heard, that we're seen, that we're valued. We're forgetting that. And we're sitting there feeling sorry for ourselves if we walk in late, complaining, in a bad mood. No one else deserves that. I used to say to people, listen, if you're going to be like that, why don't you go and sit at the bottom of the garden and eat worms? And when you're in a better mood, come back. I am not going to be part of that. Everyone has boundaries. Everyone is lousy at maintaining them. One way to learn how to maintain our boundaries, to own our moment, is to respect other people and their boundaries and their moment. And if we say we'll show up, show up. If we say we'll do, do, with bells on. I was telling you at the last video that I have a couple of plans for the next live shows. And I was talking to John Major, my paparazzi. And I said, so I have this idea, what do you think? He said, oh my God, that would be so much fun. And I thought, alrighty then. So I'm already planning. I was on messaging away with Lance Morin about it, and I said, I have an idea. And he said, it's a year away. I said, I know it's a year away. And he said, yeah, it's a good idea. Awesome. So I am already looking for elements of surprise that cause the utmost damned astonishment as a reward, because people who came this year and had a good time and are telling their friends, with any luck, they're going to say to their friends, let's go together next time. You're going to love it. It's so much fun. I want them to have something new to say, oh my God, I love this. Why am I doing that? Because I can. Because it's fun to plan. It's going to be a riot to execute. And everybody's going to have a good time. And the most fun, fabulous, busy, festive booth is going to be mine. And that will cause greater ripple effects. When people tell you who they are, and as Maya Angelou said, when they tell you, believe them. Somebody else clever said, don't make people tell you they don't want you more than once. Okay, but that's spectating. That's reacting. That's not engaging. That's disengaging. That doesn't work. It's not the way it works. When people tell you who they are, you can call them on it, but it doesn't do any good. What you can do is show them how stupid it is to do that, how unhelpful it is. And if they still insist, okay, then they have self-selected themselves off the list, and they're gone. They are the ones climbing out of the boat. We don't have to wait for them to turn their head so that we go boof and knock them overboard. Fine, now we have an empty seat. Next. When people tell you who they are, what they're really telling you is how they feel right now. And what they think they can get away with because they got away with it before. So whether it's true or not, we don't have to believe them. We just have to point out to them that that's not how it works here. That's not how it works here. Oh, you're this. I see. Well, so here's how this works. We don't do that. We do this. And if they're not ready to say, oh, that looks good, does that come with, like, does it come with wings? Do we get egg rolls? If they're really not interested because they're really embedded and entrenched in who they are and what they do, great, see ya. We are here to connect. We are here to create a network. We are here to create tribes. We are here to pool our resources, strengthen numbers. We are here to build together. We are here to build stronger. We are here to conquer smarter. We are here to laugh louder. We are here to hug harder. That's why we're here. We're not here to say, no, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. Oop, you don't qualify. Oop. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to call people category names to dehumanize them and permit ourselves to opt out of our responsibility to be engaged, to be part of a fabric. That's not why we're here. We don't get to tell the thread in the tapestry that they don't qualify. If the tapestry thread unravels itself, no matter what anybody does, then they have chosen not to qualify. They deselect themselves. We are here to have a fabulous time. Sybil Cook. Oh, Abby, why do you always want things so much? Because I deserve them so much. And because the things deserve me so much. That's why. Nobody does that. Well, apparently they do, because I'm doing it. And the thing is, if you do something, let's say I ask you in this video to do something for me. Roll your eyes, sigh heavily, and try it. Get the later folder. Get the with 'em folder. Remind yourself outside, as you walk in, that my day isn't coming. My day is here. And it's amazing. Take the deep breath and own it. Do that one time for me. And tell me what that felt like. Tell me. Because that's the moment you realize it was the best thing you ever did for you. The guy that I explained the Whiffum song to, he said, I'm going to hire you to do a presentation for my executives. Awesome. He said, yeah, I'm going to sit at the back of the room. I said, behind them or behind me? I said, you're not allowed to sit behind me. He said, why not? I said, because you're splitting their focus. They don't know who to look at. They don't know what's in it for them to pay attention to me or you, so they won't focus. You get to sit behind them if you want. And he said, wow, okay. And he sat behind them. And afterwards, I said, so I want to ask you a question. At what point, sitting at the back watching, at what point did you see their posture change? At what point did you see them sitting up a little bit? At what point did you see them stop fidgeting? And he sort of laughed. He said, yeah, that did happen, didn't it? And I said, you know what happened? You know what happened in that moment when they stopped that other stuff? He said, tell me. I said, they realized what was in it for them. They were having an aha. You can't have an aha and fidget. It's not possible. In that moment, they were 100% present. They'd bought in. They'd not only shown up, they were standing up. And he said, you're right. And I said, I didn't have to tell them what was in it for them. They knew. And it happened. You could see it. Like little fireflies. Off. Boof, boof, boof. And he said, yeah. He said, you know how to work a room. I said, I was born working rooms. And that is what happened at Fanatico. At my booth, nobody was a spectator. They might have tried. Nobody was a spectator. Everyone was engaged. It was all about them for the time they were there. When they went away and came back to see if it was true, to see if it really happened, the magic continued. This matters a lot. This is not just kind of a cool thing that Abby's doing that's her, Story Me TV thing. This matters. The pivotry concept is how we own who we are. The pivotry concept is how we say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome is that? That's a 3. Okay. Allow me to show you option B. How fabulous is that? That's a 9. Okay. Are you going to pivot or what? Well, your day's not coming. Your day's here. Are you going to pivot? Think about it. Think about it. You know what else I've just decided? Right now, in this moment, I've just decided, you know what else I'm going to bring to the shows next year? I'm going to bring later folders and Whiffum folders. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do for you. That's what I'm going to do for all of us. And you're going to love it because it works. Okay, here it is, Thursday, and the weekend is upon us. I'm going to be posting some more pictures of this fabulous time that we had. All the people being all silly and glamorous and whatnot. I have another thing, another gimmicky idea that I have. Gimmicky idea. I have another thought of brilliance that I talked to John about. I'm not going to tell you. It's going to be a surprise. And he laughed out loud. He said, oh my God, that's going to be fun. That is going to be so much fun. So I have new things that are going to happen next year. I also think David Johnson, you sneaky fellow. Your insights and understanding of the human condition never cease to amaze me. David Johnson is the single most impressive, shameless talent wrangler I have ever seen in action. He not only pulls people through the keyhole, they don't know what hit them. David, you are a miracle worker. I may have insights. You, however, I watched you do it and I still don't know how you did it. Hysterical. So this weekend, what I would like you to do for me, for you, for all of us, is I would like you to see if you can remind yourself and remember to do this. Every night when you're getting ready to go to sleep, tell yourself, I wonder what tomorrow is going to bring. Not with an eye roll. Not roadkill. I wonder what tomorrow is going to bring. Because it's going to be your day. Today was your day, tomorrow will be your day. Make that the last thing you think if you can. Take a deep breath, smile. And if you can remember, in the morning, say to yourself, it's here. It's here. And then pay attention. Pay attention for the moment, for the message, for the little impulse thing you do, not thinking, because you've been directed to do that somehow. You're supposed to be facing some way, so pay attention. You never know. Even somebody walking into a store, an office, a location, not even talking to you, not even looking at you, saying something to somebody. Maybe you needed to hear that. Not in that context. Maybe you needed to hear that phrase. At 8 o'clock this morning, your day is coming. And I thought, wrong. I needed to see that. I needed to see that message. Your day isn't coming. It's here. Are you ready? That's the message. Take a deep breath. Lean in. All right? Have a great weekend. I know that for many of you, it's scary, weird weather. I know that for many of you, there's a lot of crisis going on. There's a lot of yelling still going on. Lean away from that. Do us all a favor. Lean away from that. You don't need to be part of those conversations. They'll continue. You don't have to be part of those conversations. You know, the rule of thumb that I have is this. If the loud rhetoric takes us nowhere, we don't need it. we were tearing down and loading out at the end of Fanaticon. One of the just fabulous, fabulous guys who organizes it was really struggling with some people who were, not following the protocols. He was walking by me, and he said, "I am not a happy camper right now. I am not a happy camper." And I said, "Darling, it could be worse." And he turned and he said, "How?" I said, "Well, I could be singing." And he blinked, stopped, put his head down, shook his head, looked at me, and he said, "I love you, Mom." Walked away. What did I do? What did I do in that moment? I put it into perspective. I made him laugh at the nonsense of it. I reminded him that those things will pass. Me singing is forever. Gave me a huge hug when I was living. "What would I do without you, Mom?" I said, "I have no idea." I can't imagine it'd be worth your while. We have choices. We have choices all the time, every day. We have people who care about us. We have people whose lives we're going to touch that we don't even know. How do we want to do that? What do we want to give? Presumably our best self, right? Well, the only way to do that is to be that. And the only way to be that is to let go of. Let go. Write it down. Close the folder. Give it a little pat. Walk away. So do it for me. Do it for me the first time. Do it for me the second time. See if it's doing it for you the third time, okay? Tomorrow's my day. It's here. Alrighty then. Channel your inner Abby. Don't sing. Whatever you do, don't sing while you're channeling me. Have a great weekend. Be good to you. Thank you for watching. It means everything to me. Remember to hug your loved ones. See you next week. Fixed. There we go.